Less than 2 weeks to go before Christmas, and 138 people of all ages displaced from their homes following the Bronx building collapse in Morris Heights, trying to figure out what's next this morning.
It's truly a miracle, right, that nobody was killed here, but now dozens of families left to really pick up the pieces of their lives, and the American Red Cross once again there to lend a helping hand. Joining us this morning is Desiree Ramos Reiner with the American Red Cross of Greater New York, who was on site yesterday helping so many families. So good morning to you, Desiree. Thanks for being here this morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us today.
Of course, and thank you for the work you are doing. So let's begin with what displaced families are really experiencing, right? They spent the night at the nearby school, PS 396. Is that where you were yesterday? And how many people would you say are really impacted by what we saw play out yesterday?
So we were at the local school yesterday, and I do want to thank the principal and the Department of Education for hosting everyone who had been displaced. There, the families were able to have a hot meal and also start to talk with our casework team in order to be placed in emergency lodging last night. So we have placed people in lodging for 2 nights so far, and today we are inviting people back to the Bronx Community College in order to meet with our casework team and really start talking about what their next steps are, how we can get them into a longer-term housing situation.
I would assume that those caseworkers try to find nearby family for the holiday and match them up. But if they don't have families, how long will it take to actually get them into a unit so they can be with their families and maybe get some fresh clothes on their back?
So there were actually quite a number of the residents from the building who were able to stay with friends or neighbors or families last night. Today, what our casework team will be assessing is whether folks have the opportunity to make their own arrangements, or if we can connect them to city agencies or other nonprofits who may be able to help them.
Can you tell us a little bit more about these 138 people, right, that were impacted here? Ages of these folks, and really when you look at the totality of this and the fact that they're going to be out for quite some time, what they're up against?
So there were actually quite a broad spectrum of people. There were lots of families in the building, little children. We were able to hand out some of our toys and activities in order to keep them occupied while their parents were talking with our casework team. But it's people who have been in the community for a while, and I do think are looking to be able to come back and stay around their friends and their neighbors. So we were so grateful to everybody who showed up last night in order to support them, including our government partners and our local elected officials. And today we're going to all gather again in order to help these families move forward.
There's also a bodega located at the bottom of this building. How does the Red Cross help businesses who really can't get back to work?
So the Red Cross is really focused on the residents. Today, I'm sure the city agencies will come and speak to the small business owners in order to help them access potential additional programs that might be able to help them. But we really are focused on the residents who lived in the 6 floors of the building above the businesses below, although I know the businesses are an important part of the community, and many people were talking about them while we were in the reception center last night.
Any idea if folks will be allowed back in? Are you part of that conversation to gather some of their belongings?
So that's really going to be a decision that's going to be made by the city agencies. The most important thing is to keep everybody safe, both the residents of the building and our first responders. Okay. And so we'll hear more about that later today, I'm sure.
So in a situation like this, right, obviously it's terrible at any time of year, but specifically now in the holiday season, right, to be without your home, especially in the winter months. New Yorkers looking at this, they want to help. So how can folks at home who are watching, if they want to help, what should they do?
So right now, what we're asking people to do is have a little bit of patience. Today, we're going to meet with the families and really start talking to them more about what their needs are so that we are able to connect them to the right resources. So I would say to stay tuned, and I'm sure today you'll hear more from our community partners about specific ways and specific needs of the residents.
All right, Desiree, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time.
Thank you both so much. Have a great day.
You too.